Welcome back. We're now going to be talking about wills. Now, the deal is that we have trusts, we have operation of law, we have beneficiary designation, so are wills really needed in our society today? And yes, we still use wills. So when do we use a will? We use a will when we have a small estate. Somebody who has come in and says, I've got a clunker car and I rent my house and I'm going to go ahead and I have $20,000 in the bank. Well, they're not even going to allow us to go through a probate on that, because we don't want to have to go through probate. So we would use a will, which will allow us to do a process called a small estate affidavit. Now, the deal is the will is going to let us tell the probate court exactly what we want done. Who's going to raise minor children? Who's going to be in charge of your estate? Who's going to receive your estate? The purpose of a will is basically to make sure that your desires are taken care of instead of following the rules that the state of California has set up. In the will, when we do have to go through probate with a will, if we had a will instead of a trust, then we would want to make sure that the probate court is actually transferring our assets that are in our name after we die to someone else. They're the only ones with the authority to do that. Better is to use a trust, but at least we make sure that things go the way they're supposed to. So we have two types of wills we can do. We can basically have a standard will that's just going to say, this is what I have, this is where I want it to go. And then if it's less than, at the moment, $170,000, then we were able to go ahead and go through that small estate affidavit process. Our assets go to where we want them to be, and we don't have any more concerns. We don't have to go through court or anything of that. We have another will. It's called a pour over will. It's like pouring out of a pitcher. So you imagine that there's assets that you have, and you have a trust. You always use a pour over will with a trust. And the pour over will pour into the trust anything that got left out of the trust. So if you refinanced your house and the finance company took it out of the trust, and so now you pass away, the pour over will pours it back into the trust. If you open a new bank account and you forgot to tell them that you had a trust, then the pour over will pour it into the trust. So these are the type of wills we use in California. There's other type of wills called testamentary wills that they use in New York and other places where the court controls what's happening in the will. We don't generally use those in California, but that is something that is out there. So if you have a small estate, that might be what we do. We'll just be using a will to let the courts and everyone else know exactly what you want done with your estate. Come back again. We'll talk about some more.